All right, welcome everyone to the MMOs.com podcast, episode 194. Altai here, joined this week by
Remo.
All right, and we are off to another riveting podcast. We missed last week again because Omar was too busy grinding in the new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV. So Omar, tell us about your journey to max level.
Listen, I was on the full degen schedule. If you've ever played an MMORPG at launch, or you're very highly addicted at a certain time for a game, you know what this is like. So once the expansion launched at like Thursday at like 2 a.m. my time, of course I immediately play the second the servers go on. And it was at like 2 a.m. so I only played for like 4 hours. I slept like 6 a.m. that day. And then immediately afterwards on Friday, I played 16 hours a day. I had the 16-hour a day grind schedule for all the main story quest content for like the following 3 or 4 days, which of course included Tuesday as well. So I missed the podcast because I was literally playing 16 hours a day. I think I only took a break to eat and shower. That was it.
You showered? And I'm impressed.
I did. Hold on. I showered once. Okay, in like a 4-day period, 4 or 5 day period. I'm gonna say. All right, so I'm back to normal schedule now, guys. We're back to regularly showering. But during that 5-day window where I was playing 16 hours a day, all right, I was going ham. 16 hours a day. I played through the main story content. I'm currently obviously max level. And I'm best in slot, ready to go for the Savage Rage, which are coming out in like 3 or 4 weeks now. So there's really not much more for me to do in the game right now, but I'm ready to go for the next big set of updates coming out soon. And I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I mean, I think Shadowbringers had the best story of all of Final Fantasy XIV. They really did a good job with it. In fact, I'm not going to talk about any spoilers in the podcast, but it got to a point where really at the end of the expansion. Like when we were confronting like the antagonist, right, or the main villain, it got to a point where like I was like, holy shit, like this villain, he has a really good point. Like I actually sympathize with the villain to a point where I'm like, in fact, I'm convinced that the villain's motivations are more pure and morally superior than the main characters, the Warrior of Light. So I actually realized, wait a minute, the bad guy is doing the right thing. Of course, he's got to crack a couple eggs to get there, and it looks bad, but his logic and arguments supported his position better than the Warrior of Lights, the main character's position. So the story was so good that we're sympathizing with the villain, and the writing was just so much better than previous Final Fantasy XIV expansions and content overall. Storytelling was superb this expansion. They made a few like comically stupid decisions with some character design, but the main villain I thought was one of the best characters I've seen in like a video game.
Wow. But towards the end, did he make something comically evil just to like let you know that he's evil?
No.
Wow.
No. Usually, the whole time.
Usually they do that, right? They build it up nice, and then they make it comically obvious who the bad guy is and why.
I mean, I guess if you're thinking in a very one-dimensional way, you could like write him off as comically evil. But like his character, for example, I mean, anyone who's played any Final Fantasy XIV knows that Ascians, which have always been considered the main villains of the game, are basically they live immortal lives, right? So this guy's lived 1,000 lifetimes. So he gets frustrated sometimes. He tries to explain things. He's explained it so many times to other people. So his anger and frustration kind of comes through in the way he explains his motivations. But he basically just sits down and tells you like why he's doing what he's doing, and it all makes sense. Of course, you got to kill a couple people for his plan to work, but his plan would be a more net positive, I would say, for life in Final Fantasy XIV, in the world of Final Fantasy XIV. That's why I was really engaged in the story, because the whole time it's not like a Looney Tunes villain. I mean, if you played Stormblood, for example, there's a very Looney Tunes main villain, the Xenos. He's the worst character in the game. I would argue one of the worst writing of like most video games I've ever played. He's just, oh my god, I could just go on a tangent on this guy forever. He's the previous villain in the last expansion. He's motivated by one thing: the thirst for battle. Okay, he just likes fighting really strong dudes. So think like Vegeta or something, or any Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z. In a game that's trying to be very serious, right? He represents the Empire. He's the viceroy of like the conquered lands, right? And when he confronts the main character, our character in the Stormblood story, he basically defeats us in battle, right? And he goes, haha, you are so weak right now. I'm going to let you run off and go get stronger so we can fight again later, because I love battle.
Hey, he likes battle. The man likes battle. He explained his motivation to you, right? So it's not like coming out of nowhere.
How would this douche nozzle be appointed the viceroy of like this military campaign they're on? Like yes, he was obviously royalty.
He's a really good fighder, apparently. He conquered. He did his job, right? He won.
No. He still ends up losing at the end, obviously. But like, a person that stupid in any real scenario would be appointed like a novelty position in like the Empire, like some bullshit position with a lot of prestige with no responsibility. If he's incapable of making like normal decisions, and he just likes killing people for fun, just to show how evil he is, he'll just kill people and do bad things for fun. That's his motivation. He was the main villain of the last expansion, potentially villain in the upcoming updates as well. But I hate that character personally, and it was such a change of pace to have a character development that we actually care about that makes sense. Like, I want to see characters I sympathize with, even the bad guys. Like, a good villain will make sense. You have to sympathize with him. You can't just be this one-dimensional Looney Tunes bad guy.
All right, that's good.
One more thing.
So how do you? This guy lives forever. How'd you kill him? Well, I guess don't spoil it. I don't know.
Yeah, no spoilers. I mean, there are ways to kill out, his race, for example. So there's one character I really like. I liked kind of his motivations, but I just really hated his appearance. So I'm gonna show you what he looks like, and you would think it'd be easier to find, but I'm just spelling his name horribly wrong. But overall, I think it was a phenomenal expansion. I think it's the highest rated expansion of by Metacritic score. I think user scores as well. People overall love the story. There's been some complaints with some of the changes they've made to the classes. I know Scholar, Astro, White Mage. Well, White Mage is not so bad, but the healer classes really got like they changed the way some of the classes work. So there's a lot of like the healers are really upset with just how poorly their classes play generally. Everybody else is generally pretty okay with the changes they've had, but they really objectively just butchered like Scholar and Astro, just being poorly designed, just one-dimensional, very lazy design on the character classes. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I think it's the best expansion for the game, and I'm more amazed by the fact that the game had about 1 million active subscribers pre-launch of Shadowbringers. I would love to see an updated figure in the near future. I mean, it's got to be higher, obviously, with the hype for it. I mean, the pre-launch period, the end of Stormblood, end of an expansion is always the most boring parts.
You think it's possible to triangulate that number with the next earnings call?
Yeah, probably, actually, for sure. So that's a good point too. We'll find out when Square Enix release their next set of earnings how much they sold. But it might be a little confusing because they'll include the box sale. So within 6 months, we'll have an idea of where the subscribers are based on, because the box sales will die off by the time next 3 months pass. So in 6 months, we'll find a good idea of where their subscriber numbers are.
Yeah, so people in chat are saying apparently they got rid of some DOTs for some of the healers. So basically, they're making them pure heal bots, and that's what people are complaining about.
Yeah, their ability to do damage and stuff really went down, which makes healers don't really have to do a lot of damage in Savage Raids even. As long as they heal and the DPS does their job, they can clear the content. But like good players, right, that play healer, they want to do damage as well because it makes it more involved in the play. I think that's one of the really cool things on Final Fantasy XIV's class design, I think, is you can actually play, like if you play just generally a full healer, you can still clear the content. But if you really want to min-max, there's a lot of ways to min-max. What seems pretty simple in your rotation, and applying that to an actual fight and knowing when to use certain abilities, there's a lot of room to min-max. It's actually very hard to get a perfect run. At least it was, last expansion. I haven't done it. There's no Savage Raids yet. But it's very difficult to have a perfect run where you do everything flawlessly because it's so easy to mess up tiny things, which aren't going to, again, if you're a really good player, it's not going to get in the way of clearing the content, but the min-maxing is really fun. I love min-maxing Final Fantasy XIV, and obviously clearing the fight for the first time is fun too, but you would think running the same dungeon, running the same boss over and over again wouldn't be fun. Like after the first 10 times, it wouldn't be fun. But that's not true. I think they've made the class mechanics and the min-maxing options really, really fun. Because you can't just stand there and cast the same abilities. You got to move around, dodge stuff. But it's remarkable. Because every time, I've done every Savage fight like a billion times, in the years I've played the game. Only because I do enjoy min-maxing. I do want to get those FF log parse numbers up. So it's really well designed from that perspective.
All right, any luck with that picture, or should we move on?
I don't know why. I don't know why I can't spell this guy's name. Am I not spelling Lord Vaultry correctly?
Vaultry.
Vaultry. I think I got it now. Lord Vaultry. Okay. This guy is. I hate this character. He was. Okay, sorry for the really awful link there, but it should work.
Oh my god, this guy's huge.
Can you guess?
He's an absolute unit.
Can you guess if this is a good guy or a bad guy, guys? Can you guess?
This is Pudge from Dota when he got elevated to the Monarchy.
Yeah. Again, can you guess if this is a good guy or a bad guy?
Seems like a bad guy to me.
Oh wow, what do you know, Alta? He's just fat and he's just comically what's remarkable is they did a full it was so bizarre because his character, Valtry's character in the game, he has some pretty interesting logic for what he's doing, right? What he's doing appears evil, but he has some really solid logic in general of what he's doing. They just could not reconcile the fact that they had to make him look so stupidly evil for no reason. Like I don't know why. They could have made him look more normal.
Eye of the beholder. Okay, this is a very handsome, in his country, this is a very dapper gentleman. All right, so
Maybe. So it's definitely a bit odd that they decided to make him like that.
all right. Well, I guess it's pretty normal to have these big gaps between the launch of the expansion and then the first raid.
I mean, it's not a huge gap again, because most people aren't going to no life this story the way I did. Like obviously, a lot of people are still max level. They finished the story, but people that generally have work or school, they can't no life it the way I did. So, I think it's gonna come out like sometime in August, mid-August.
So how many hours would you say, roughly, does it take to get max level this expansion?
I mean, if you literally, again, if you just skip all the cutscenes and just literally did only grind, like there's certain roulettes you can do, dungeon runs you can just grind. You can probably get in like 15 hours or something.
So
20
15
hours
hours is the minimum. What about average? Like average guy playing at average rate.
Oof. Again, it took me like 5 days of playing 16 hours a day to finish the story.
Really, that long?
Again,
Wow.
that's if I watched all the cutscenes, I read everything, and Final Fantasy XIV is very much a JRPG with the storytelling. It's a game heavily driven by story. If you want to play a MMORPG with story elements, Final Fantasy XIV, Star Wars: Old Republic are really some of your only options. And it kind of brings us to a slight there's been a bit of drama this last week related to Final Fantasy XIV with a fellow MMO content creator, LazyPeon. Have you heard about that, Altai?
No, I heard nothing about this.
Okay, so he made a video criticizing Final Fantasy XIV. He said it was the most boring leveling he's ever done, right? And he generally criticized the game, and he got a lot of hate for that video. Obviously, all the fanboys of Final Fantasy XIV immediately downvoted his video. He got attacked on Twitter from very hardcore fans of the game. And while I personally disagreed with what he said in the video, I was actually kind of blown away with just how defensive a lot of people got. Like everyone was attacked him because he said some things which were kind of stupid in my opinion, but it's his opinion, guys. Like, relax. He said like the story is really bad, which I think people rightfully criticized him for. He skipped the story, right? So he skipped certain parts of the story. He bought the level skips, so he has no idea what's going on. So I feel like you can't really criticize the story if you just skip it. I mean, if you play through the story and say it's bad, that's fine. We can respect that opinion, right? And generally, a lot of the stuff he said was like, "Oh, the gameplay is bad," because like he's basically the gameplay is bad because it's not like these other games that I like. Which I don't know why people got so like offended. Like, you can disagree with the man, right? I'm here to defend LazyPeon, by the way, guys. I disagree with everything he said in the video, but he's allowed to not like the game. He's allowed to just not like the gameplay because it's not like the games he's played. And people criticize him for like, "Oh, you were trying to say it was objectively bad." Dude, no, he made a video saying it was bad. When somebody says, "Okay, this is a bad game," you don't have to say, "In my opinion, it's a bad game." That's implied. Of course it's your opinion. Who else's opinion would it be? So everything he said was his opinion. And he's right to have his opinion that he doesn't like the game, So him trashing on the game, minus the parts where I think he was just objectively like silly to trash on the story when he didn't play it. But you can just, I didn't like it, so I skipped it. That's fine. But don't say it's bad when you just don't know what's going on. And he made a comment that a lot of people got offended by, talking about how the story was a cash out mechanic, where the story skipping stuff were basically in the game just to make money, and the story was just long on purpose to get you to buy the story skips, which I disagree with, because obviously the story was in the game before the story skips were added. They added the story skips in Stormblood, so they couldn't have possibly designed the story around the level skips when the story existed before the level skips. So that was just contradictory. But beyond that, I think he got a lot more hate than he deserved. I mean, it's okay not to like every game, Like, I have friends who don't like Final Fantasy XIV. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think a lot of the people got a little too defensive. I think it's okay to criticize a game, and you can disagree with everything the man said. Literally everything he said, I know you can disagree with, but the hate was too strong.
Well, I don't like the fact that you got to pay for the story skips and the level skips. I think WoW is a good system where every expansion you start at the previous max level and you play the new content. And if you want to make a new character and play the old story, you can do that.
Look, that's another approach to the thing. But I think Square Enix designed Final Fantasy XIV around being a story-driven game, and they're basically telling you, like, listen, if you don't want to do the whole story thing,
don't play.
You don't have to play our game.
And that's the main reason I don't want to play Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh,
I don't play MMORPG for the story, so that rules me out automatically.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with not playing Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
But they built the game around. They want you to be immersed in the world. They want you to know the characters. They want you to know all that stuff. I mean, you can disagree with that design philosophy.
No, don't label it as immersed in the world. You can immerse someone in the world with a more show don't tell story, like older games did. So, but yeah, if you want like a JRPG linear story,
yeah, exactly,
play that. If you don't, I don't want that though.
Though there are legitimate concerns with like how boring there's certain between like level 1 and 40s, and like the 20 to 40, there's certain gaps in the story which is just, I think, objectively poorly done, and they feel monotonous. Okay, so they can streamline certain parts of the story. I think would be just really smart for them to do. But I think if you want to really enjoy Final Fantasy XIV, going through the story, I think is worth the experience. Obviously, it takes a lot of time, and I'm not, the idea of including a level skip, or like the way WoW does, isn't necessarily a terrible idea either. But that's the way they went, and I think it's okay. But obviously, I would still want my friends to play the game who don't like the story. I mean, and a lot of people skipped all the story in Shadowbringers too, and they play purely for the rating and the other MMORPG mechanics in the game. So there is a community in Final Fantasy XIV that plays purely for rating, purely for the gameplay. But I would say that that's probably a minority. I think most people are playing for that JRPG-like experience, which is why there is no included levels.
All right. Well, it's amazing that MMORPGs have gotten to that point, though, right? Where it's almost the biggest. Final Fantasy XIV is now arguably the largest MMORPG, right?
In the West,
and with that, I would say, imagine you play a new character. You start level 1, and you play through all the main story quests from original and all the expansions. How long would it take you to get to max level doing all the main story quests? Take your time, reading everything. You're not skipping.
Oh my God! Honestly, it's gonna take you over 100 hours. 150, 200. I would say 200 hours.
200 hours. I think that's. It amazes me that there's so many players, given that kind of, I don't know, length you got to play just to get to a point where there's anything going on.
I'll tell you, FF14 is kind of like a book or something. You have to, you really have to take it in. I think to get the full enjoyment. And listen, clearly people are getting the full enjoyment out of the game.
I mean, clearly they are.
But I will tell you one thing right away. As someone who loves Final Fantasy XIV, you could not pay me enough money to make a new character and do that 200-hour grind. I would never want to do it again. I would not. If you've never done it, that's fine, right? But I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, where you have to do the whole story over again on a new character. If you want to make an alt character, you have to do everything all over again, or buy the level skip, right? And the reason to make an alt, of course, would be to raid with multiple parties, get past the weekly lockouts, because you can level every class on one if you want to, right? So fortunately, because you can level every character on one class, you don't have to make alts. But if you want to make an alt for other reasons, I would never. You have to pay like $1,000 to consider it even. Like anything less than that, like I just wouldn't do it, because I've already seen the story. I like the story, but I would never want to do it again.
Remo not playing New Game Plus. Yeah. In fact, Omar, I don't think we've ever played New Game Plus in any game we played.
Yeah. It was never. I think Alta and me would never just like the New Game Plus stuff.
Once is enough.
I think so too. So if I made a new character, I would just buy a level skip or a story skip. So that 100%. But I recommend Alta. I still would like you to play Final Fantasy XIV one day.
Well, if I did play, I would literally skip every story. I wouldn't read one thing.
Well, hold on. The good thing actually about Shadowbringers is I think it's a good spot to pick up for a lot of like if you never played the game and you buy the level skip, I think you get most of the story from where we are today. Only because Shadowbringers is set basically in like a parallel world, so it's kind of separated from everything else before.
That's interesting.
We're meeting new characters.
But even the new stuff, I wouldn't read the new quest either.
No. I mean, look, sure.
I mean, if it catches here's the thing. I'm not gonna rule it out, but if it doesn't immediately catch my interest, I'll skip. And then that I would apply that to every single quest. Like I wouldn't give it the benefit of the doubt. I do this in every game. It's not like I'm exclusively doing this to Final Fantasy.
Okay. The story this time was so much better. It got to a point where I think I argued with Kineris for like over an hour, like 2 hours on Discord about the motivations of the main guy, the main bad baddie. And I argued with another friend in my free company for like 40 minutes about like back and forth on, if they were, if the bad guys were actually the good guys and stuff like that.
So where'd you fall on this? Were you defending the bad guy?
Oh, 100%. I actually genuinely believe the bad guys' motivations were more pure and would lead to a better world.
Well, without even knowing the story, I got my silver bullet loaded. I'm going to get you, right? Revolver. Here we go.
All right, let's go.
It is not the place of immortals to run the affairs of mortals. Boom.
Hashtag deep.
There you go. So he has no place telling. It's like a fifth dimensional alien. If they came down and told us what to do, I'd be like, F off.
No. But again, it's a lot more intricate than that. I can refute you in the post game maybe first. Not really much. There's not really too many spoilers because we kind of know about this guy's motivation for a while, but he just explains it in detail later. I'll talk about it later, because I got a pretty good counterpoint to that.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. All right, so let's move on to something different. How about this thing? Jagex got sold.
Yeah, Jagex. Some American private equity group bought Jagex for $350 million. Should come as no surprise though, because I think like a year ago it came out that the Chinese parent company was trying to shop them off and sell them. But what's surprising to me is just how little they got sold for. $350 million? That's nothing, boys. $350 million? That's chump change for a company like Jagex. And what's remarkable is Jagex made like in profits like nearly $60 million last year. So $60 million being sold. A company that makes $60 million being sold for $350 million. That's like 7 times in profits, which is extremely low for a company like Jagex, which is growing. and the video game industry. Video game companies trade at like 15 times multiples. So it's remarkable to me why, how they got sold so cheaply. It had to be the fact that I think it was a Chinese like iron ore mining company. They were like strapped for cash. They needed money right now, so they sold it, I think, at a very low price.
And it should be noted that the sale is not because of Jagex is doing poorly. Like Omar said, it's actually all-time highs for Jagex in terms of sales, subscriptions. It's because the Chinese company just needed money really fast. So no fault of Jagex here, and I'm actually kind of glad to see it back out of the hands of the Chinese farmers and into the
out of the hands of the Chinese into the private equity owners of Platinum Equity Partners.
Listen,
it's just a private equity company.
Yes. So slick suits in Manhattan are now calling the shots at in RuneScape world.
I mean, the thing is, when you buy a company, it's kind of like a self-contained operation. It's like when you buy a big company, they have their own board of directors, they have their own like management. So RuneScape and Jagex are running their own show. It's not like these guys from New York are going to be flying to London and running the show at Jagex. No, that's when you buy a small business that's owned by one guy, yeah, you have to kind of buy and then operate it differently. But anytime you're buying a big company, it's always the same people generally running the same show. So I don't think too much is going to change. People were hella worried when the Chinese bought Jagex. Oh, they're going to make it into a cash grab, right? But like arguably, old school RuneScape didn't become a cash grab while the Chinese owned them. Like not much has changed really, and the game is an all-time high. So I don't think much is going to change from that direction. Obviously, they have the authority to say monetize the game more, and that could screw things up. But I doubt they would.
So I wonder if this is a bridge thing. How long will this? Obviously, this private equity company doesn't want to keep this forever. It's not like really their core business. I wonder who they're going to try to flog it to, in a year or two.
Yeah, for sure. But interesting, just to show you how much RuneScape seems to really care about the way their players think. This is still a remarkable thing for MMORPGs and remarkable for Jagex. The polling system in old school RuneScape just blows me away. So what happened was they polled their users. Jagex polled users saying that we did a partnership in the past with Twitch Prime to bring new players to the game by giving them a free cosmetic, right, or something. We want to do future partnerships such as this, and this. Can you guys vote on it? And 70% of players came out and said, no, we don't want any more partnerships, right?
Wow.
And because players are worried that if they do these partnerships by giving away like cash, like some cosmetics, it's going to bring us closer to microtransactions. So as 70% of players voted against it, Jagex pulled the polls and said, you know what? We heard you loud and clear. We're not doing this. We think partnerships are a good idea, but you guys disagree. So any partnerships we do will not involve any in-game items. So they wanted the fact that they respect their players so much that the players have control over some development changes in RuneScape is remarkable. It really keeps the developers in check, for old school RuneScape at least. I would like to see perhaps a similar system implemented in other games where they listed player feedback directly. I do think there's often a disconnect between the players and the developers. And what better way to handle a disconnect than literal in-game polls for major changes to the game? I think it's an amazing idea that no one else does about RuneScape.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too, because a few games do it, but they're all tiny. Like really, really tiny games do this. But Jagex is able to do it at a huge scale, which is surprising. So that's impressive.
It just seems like so many things so many disasters can be prevented. Like the changes for Scholar and stuff in Final Fantasy XIV. Like these are so obviously such bad ideas that people realize right away. If obviously you can't take everything from players, and I think old school RuneScape is an interesting case. It's basically a vanilla version, a different version of RuneScape. They want to preserve the feeling of old school RuneScape, so they always want to hear back from players how they want to preserve the old meaning while adding new content as well. So player input there is more required. You can't take player input on like a ton of new content, so it might not work as well with other games. Like a lot of balance stuff, a lot of just like big decisions. I think it'd be really cool to see WoW and other MMOs take player feedback directly. I know Maple Stories too said they wanted to collaborate with players on the forums with discussion on how they add new content to the game. But that doesn't really it's hard to get players interested in that conversation when next I can be like, okay, we heard you, but fuck you. We're not going to do something otherwise. Where the polls in RuneScape are public. Everyone can clearly see what people are voting on. And the developer doesn't want to go against, player opinions.
Yeah, I could definitely see if Maple Story ever does launch a vanilla server, or if WoW launches their server. I think for a lot of vanilla or classic servers, you can probably, just community polls are probably a good idea.
Imagine Riot did that for League of Legends. It's such a weird balancing act for Riot or any MOBA. You have so many heroes, and a lot of the players don't know what's OP or what's not. So I don't know. It'd be very hard for, I think, a MOBA or any game like that or hero shooter to be able to balance around that.
How are you gonna have ad block?
Right.
Listen, ad block is a way of life. I don't deviate.
I agree with Mega Crappy username. All right. That's the thing too. Like we both use AdBlock, and I ain't gonna. I don't know. I'm not gonna put those ads on MMOs.com that are like showing the frowny faces, like please support us. You use AdBlock. People sad. I'm not gonna put those on the site. AdBlock is definitely the way. Where it's at.
So we rely on your shekels, all right, directly through the subscription. So
there you go. Or if you click some of those browser games on our site where you get 50% revenue share, that's where it's at too. All right.
That's right.
Spend some money on some Duker strategy games and give MMOs.com 50%.
Get addicted. All right. So,
do you know what's another big drama this week? I'm sure you've heard this one. The G2A Hatewagon.
Yes, I did hear about it, and I defend G2A.
Me too. I was going to say my hot take, unpopular hot take. G2A
did nothing
wrong.
Did nothing wrong. Listen, they're just reselling keys. Okay, this is called consumer freedom. If you, as a developer, don't want this, all right, don't sell regional prices. Don't do all this crap.
All right, but all right, now I'm gonna take devil's advocate then. Okay, so
all right, be devil's advocate.
What if somebody has a stolen credit card, buys 10 keys from your site,
okay,
and sells it?
Sounds like the problem with the guy stealing credit card, and why is that on me?
Okay, so you think it's cool if like I go to your store,
you go to G2A
physical store. You run Altai's Hat Emporium. Okay, I go to Altai's Hat Emporium. I buy 10 hats from you with my stolen credit card. Okay,
yep.
All right, and I sell the hats.
Yep.
On eBay.
Yep.
And then now there's a chargeback. You just lost. But
the credit card company makes me whole. The only one who loses here is the credit card company.
No, credit card company. The vendor never gets their money. What are you talking about?
Credit card fraud?
The vendor is never made whole in chargeback.
I don't know.
You eat the loss. Any e-commerce sale is the same way too. Sellers, the credit company never eats loss. That's not how it works.
I don't know.
I'm 100% on this. When there's chargebacks, there's a reason why too. When there's a chargeback, if you charge back RuneScape, Warframe, any MMORPG, the first thing that happens is your account's banned.
Okay.
Why would they ban your account? Why would they care if they got their money anyway?
Because you're gonna keep doing it.
Well, they got their money. No, I'm 100% on chargebacks. The seller loses the money.
Okay. Well, so you're right. Okay.
Okay. So now you just lost $100 worth of hats. Are you not upset? Like, should this, and what's enabling this guy to sell these hats? Is going to be the flip it on G2A in this case, or eBay, or somewhere else.
Okay, there's a simple solution here. Don't sell keys. Just have
don't sell.
No. You go to Steam, you buy the game, you get the game.
Yes,
so what's the problem?
You can do that. All right, obviously, but for a physical retailer, right, where let's say they sell physical goods.
Okay, G2A does not do physical, but
so
I'm a little confused by the.
Would the principle not apply?
Just take cash. If we're taking this analogy to like a weird physical world. It's cash only.
Cash only, boys.
That's it. Done. So let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to G2A. Okay. If you, the company developer, are going to sell keys, the risk you take with keys is that people are going to buy and sell and trade them and chargebacks, right?
That's true as well. Yes.
So how about this? You list your game on Steam directly, or Epic Games directly, or Apple Store, or whatever, Google Store, and that's it. Done.
Yeah, I think what was remarkable about it is I read some of the reply. G2A started this drama started after G2A responded to a tweet with an article on GamesIndustry.biz talking about like specifically their complaints, and this indie game company was saying that don't buy our games on G2A, just pirate them instead. We make the same amount of money either way, and they responded like basically like this created a lot of drama, but it's not based in reality because chargebacks I think we can agree is the main problem. I think stolen credit cards and chargebacks are the biggest issue. I think that's where the developers have the most real concerns, right? Because chargebacks are generally obviously you can say don't sell keys, which works too. But chargebacks as a percent of like all the transactions on G2A in general are such a small amount. I think they specifically said like with your indie game, since your indie game launched out of early access, a total of 5 keys were sold on G2A, and you made this entire post about this. So you basically monetized hype.
Yep.
On 5 versions of your game selling. I mean, indie games make up, I think, 8%, they said, of G2A sales as well. So the scope of the problem for indie developers seems to be so small, where the real problem numbers are really small. However, there's another issue too. Very often, indie developers especially, they give away free copies of their game via giveaways. I know MMOs.com, we get like, tons of giveaway offers from like these random indie games. They give us keys, like tons of keys. Hey, give away 50 copies of our indie game on your website. Here you go, 50 keys. And we don't do that. So even the keys just sit in my Gmail, never open, right? But I could just take those keys and sell them on G2A. Or if somebody wins one of those keys, they can just sell it on G2A as well. And that's potentially a lost sale for G2A.
Well, they gave away a free copy.
Exactly. But that's the thing. People don't want.
Who's people? The developers don't want it.
The developers don't want people that win free copies of their game to sell it because they view that as a lost sale.
Well, so then they should not do giveaways.
I agree. Yeah. I disagree on that part. I think the fact that consumers can sell their keys is fine. The part that's the problem is the chargebacks. Listen, and now where we disagree, where is responsibility for dealing with these chargebacks? Is it purely on the developer?
Yes.
Where they have to make sure there's
Yep. Oh. Your job as a consumer is to get the lowest price you can, right?
The lowest price, yeah.
Or else you are actually destroying the world. The universe depends on you doing what's best for you, right? That's how it's called capitalism, baby, all right? If you disrupt the system, like Omar used to buy DVDs, right, for animes before like Crunchyroll. And I would ask him, why are you buying that DVD? We watched it for free on these pirate sites. Said, oh, I want to support the guys who made it. I'm like, no, you actually...
Yeah, God forbid. I want to support Steins Gate boys, all right? I bought the Steins Gate DVD.
I made the argument that you're actually hurting the guys who made Steins Gate by buying that DVD. You know why? You're prolonging their switch to the streaming model. Because I guess we're still selling DVDs. I mean, why do we got to stream? We're still selling a few... I mean, it's going down every year, but we're still selling some. But if you say, nope, not buying it, and if all the sales go to zero right away, they'll say, oh, shit, we're not selling DVDs anymore. We got to do the streaming shit. So you actually hurt them in the long run.
Listen, I wanted to support my boys for making my favorite
You didn't
anime.
support them, though. That's my point.
All right? Season 2 sucks. Don't watch the second part of Steins Gate. The first part, great, though. All right?
No, you need to... every time you buy something or spend money, you send a signal, right? And that signal is what determines what the other party does. However, you got to respond to that signal. So if you send the wrong signal, they're going to make the wrong response.
Yes, I agree I agree with the premise over there. But at that point, there was no other way for me to support this company, this Japanese company. They only sold DVDs. It was the only way for me. So I wanted to basically say, I enjoyed your product. I want to give you money. How can I give you money?
Why don't you write them a letter and saying, hey, do streaming?
God, write a letter. That's more work. I don't want to do that shit.
Or don't do anything. Because now when they see a sale gone, or they have no income coming in, they got to change their business model.
Or they go bankrupt. They change their business model or go bankrupt. Okay, I gave them the signal. I want more of what you're doing, right? How else can I do that? I don't particularly care about the business model. I wanted to reward them for what they created in the hopes that they create more. But then again, maybe I'm mistaken because I didn't like
Steins Gate. There you go. See,
the second part
if you didn't buy that DVD, that season would have been better.
Honestly, people obviously are going to disagree with me, but Steins Gate is my favorite anime. But the second part, honestly, I prefer not to be there. I just didn't like it. So there you go. Well, maybe I shouldn't have bought that DVD, Kappa.
Side Tokai is you'd be surprised. A lot of people, for example, I can pirate anything I want, but I still I watch on Netflix, Amazon Prime, I watch on Hulu because it's easier. These are cheap enough options that it's not worth the effort of turning on my VPN, downloading these bullshit files, getting a virus here and there. If I can just pay the $5 a month or whatever and just get it for everything I need, I will. So you got to make the cost of piracy higher than the cost of the streaming.
It's true. I use Crunchyroll now too. Nowadays, if people tell me to watch an anime, if it's not on Crunchyroll, I'm honestly just not going to watch it. It's just so convenient to watch them on Crunchyroll.
See, there you go.
And obviously, I know Crunchyroll gives them some, the anime producer makes some money off Crunchyroll too.
So if you didn't buy that DVD, Crunchyroll would have came out one day earlier. Think about it that way.
Maybe. I'm pretty sure Steins Gate is not on Crunchyroll, unfortunately. Cost and convenience that rules all. There you go. Yeah, but G2A bandwagon, hate bandwagon, I think it's gotten a little too off the rails. I mean, poor G, they're getting a lot of hate. Honestly, it's self-inflicted too. Just if they ignored all these problems, it would be much better. Fighting it is not going to help them.
I suspect that their chargeback rate, or whatever this chargeback stuff is going on, is not much higher than anywhere else on the internet.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that everything else I say is not a problem. The chargeback, we just kind of, I can understand people blaming G2A for facilitating the chargebacks and allowing it to happen. But they do have a good argument too that, fine, let's say we disappear. They're just still on eBay or anywhere else. But obviously, the argument that if we don't commit the crime, somebody else will isn't really a good idea either, even though it's not a crime.
Yeah, no crime here.
Yeah, so they're in a very wonky position. They also,
G2A what's this hey? Explain this hey. Anything we missed?
There's one part I think where G2A made a mistake. They proved they're I think they were wrong. They emailed some indie game website and they said, we want to write an article on your website showing our position because we think everyone's misrepresenting us, right? And we don't want this to be labeled as a sponsored post, but we want to give you money. Deal? And the guy just copied and pasted the email on Twitter showing that they were trying to buy a sponsored post without being sponsored. And then G2A came out and said, oh, this was a rogue employee. He's going to be punished. bullshit. That was not a rogue employee. That was policy from the top
That's
down.
pretty funny.
That shit happens all the time. Literally we get offers for paid sponsored posts. They're not labeled sponsored posts all the time. It's always policy. And they got caught and they screamed, rogue employee, wasn't our fault. So they definitely lied about that.
Nice.
But beyond that, beyond the chargebacks, I don't know what the hate is for G2A. Yes, they facilitate some level of people quote unquote stealing credit card fraud and selling the keys. But if somebody has stolen credit card numbers, why not just buy like Visa gift cards or Domino's gift cards or something else?
Yeah, it seems fishy to me.
Are indie games the best way to launder stolen credit cards into money? That can't be.
And don't forget, G2A takes a cut when people sell their keys.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't if I stole more credit card, I would buy, like you said, Visa gift cards. I wouldn't buy Steam credit or like Steam CD keys from like it's just a weird way to make money.
They should still Steven Seagal to beat him up. There you go. You can buy some Belle Delphine bathwater instead. There you go. That's definitely the play, Drift Life. Good point.
I suspect a lot of the hate comes from the fact that what's really happening is arbitrage between different regions. Yeah. Right. So people who are buying these keys in like poorer regions and they're selling the keys on G2A to kind of to Western people. And on that account, I'm with G2A. That's called business, baby. If I can buy an iPhone in America and then sell it for double in like Europe, why wouldn't I do that? Like, it's your job to figure that out, not me.
That's true. I mean, that's where the biggest value proposition is for G2A to customers, is the regional pricing arbitrage, where, like you said, wholesalers will buy the keys from Russia where the keys are cheap as fuck, and they'll get the Russian pricing, but it works on the global version of Steam for whatever reason, and you use it that way. Listen, I'm with you too. If I can get a game cheap on G2A, I do it. And there's always a risk on G2A that I think people realize that if the key was stolen, some percent of keys are stolen on G2A, but from what G2A is saying, it's a very small amount, and they deal with those as it happens. And people do, if you buy a key on G2A that ends up being stolen, you actually lose on your Steam account if it gets reported. So you might have a game on Steam, and then the next day it disappears after Steam deactivates it for being reported as a chargeback from the developer, which complains to Steam, and it gets fixed that way. But it does seem like G2A at least says, if your keys are ever stolen, if you could prove to us that there's a chargeback fraud that we described, they give you 10 times your money. Now, they could just be lying, but the fact that they seem to be at least trying to address the issue.
Yeah, and I really think credit cards are kind of a weird way to verify purchases. I mean, they've been around for a while now, and I think it's kind of implanted. But this system needs to go, and I think hopefully Apple will make some progress on this front. I know they're rolling out their login with Apple now. Any app or like site that allows you to log in with Google or Facebook, right? They say Apple says you must have Apple ID login too. If you don't, we're gonna ban you from our products. So it's gonna force everyone to have that. And if you have Apple Pay, which is kind of growing now, maybe you can one-click pay. Amazon Pay has this too. It's really good. So on bullshit websites, if you don't trust a bullshit website, you don't want them getting your payment information. What you do is if you pay with Amazon Pay or any of these pay with PayPal, they don't actually get your information directly. The vendor. It goes through PayPal or Amazon. So hopefully we'll do more of this in the future rather than people punching in their credit card number on random websites.
And one more thing, I feel for indie developers too, but where I don't sympathize with them too is they say if somebody buys 1,000 keys from your game as a fake wholesaler, right, with a stolen credit card, does it behoove you? I want to use the word behoove, by the way. It's a fun word. Does it behoove you to not accept credit card payments for 1,000 for a bulk order? It's called bank transfer, wire transfer. We've had this technology forever, where those are irreversible. Yeah, the credit card is great for the consumer end, but the keys are specifically sold directly by developers to wholesalers, to bigger resellers. They're sold in that fashion, and those people shouldn't be using credit cards to buy your game anyway. Plus, you're paying a credit card fee to accept payments. It's cheaper for you if you're selling even remotely bulk copies of units to just take bank transfer only or wire transfer only. Again, this is business to business, not business to consumer. So it makes no sense to accept credit cards either. So beyond that, I like the value proposition I get from G2A. I hear the developers on the stolen credit card concern. I just think the amount of hate towards G2A, I think, is a little bit more than deserved.
It's funny. The hate towards them is a good subject to move to the next one. Epic Games. Epic is still getting a lot of hate for their Epic store, and they're spending a lot of money to try to mitigate this. So, for example, maybe you heard about this one, Shenmue 3, the pre-orders. Did you read this?
Vaguely. Something about them funding it or something. I don't know.
So basically, it's a Kickstarter project, and they said it's going to be on Steam in the Kickstarter. So people funded it, and then they said, JK, we're going to be Epic Store exclusive. And then a lot of people said, "Oh, this is not fair. We want it to be on Steam. That's why we backed it." And then Shenmue guys said, "We're not going to give a refund for this reason." And then Epic said, "Fine, we will. We will pay out of our pocket anybody who wants a refund." So Shenmue still gets to keep the money. But Epic will just the Fortnite bucks, the V-Bucks, are going to pay all these refunds.
Good guy, Epic. They didn't have to do that, but they did. It was obviously it was the developers of Shenmue that made the decision to take the Epic money and go on Epic only, right? And it was Epic that just came out and honored the refund complaints from people that didn't want to play it on Epic. So it seems like the people that don't like Epic, they can do nothing right. It's very odd the amount of hate they get.
I mean, yeah, it is, and I honestly think the guy running Epic, he's really trying to. He really cares about games, because when we get those free games every 2 weeks on Epic Store, Epic is paying for those games. Epic is not getting them for free. We're getting them for free. So I think he's splashing millions, hundreds, tens of millions. It's not hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of millions of dollars on
this
free
Fortnite
games.
money is just going to gamers basically, in one form or the other. And I think as an option to be really good for gaming, this Fortnite buzz and all this money. But I would
Fortnite money has flowed into gamers and developers in a remarkable way. Like Epic Games could have easily just taken all the Fortnite profits and just literally paid out a big fat dividend to Tim Sweeney, and he could just he just bought more mansions. Instead, that money is being basically reinvested on building the platform, which ends up basically just giving free shit to us. How many free games have you gotten out there?
Like at least a dozen by now.
Yeah, so they're giving away games to everyone. They're subsidizing game costs. They're refunding people that are complaining about Shenmue. Like all of this is just benefiting gamers. Like it just seems like a win. Like obviously, yes, you guys. Look, I'm not Epic fanboy. I hate Epic client is shit compared to the Steam client. Yeah, but it's such a minor inconvenience for me to go on Epic versus Steam. Like I'm gonna do it if I get free shit. I'll take the free shit all day. It's a shittier client objectively, but whatever. I get free stuff. Win-win.
Yeah, I just hope that they pour more of this money. Actually, one of the things is you can't really try helping consumers because they just get complaining like this. I wish they in the back end use some of this money to fund or purchase other third-party software and stuff to build games, so that they can make Epic the engine, Unreal Engine, as powerful as they can, so that in the future, real games like MMORPGs,
more MMORPGs games on Unreal Engine, please no, Altai. Please no.
Why? What if because of the $1 billion a year coming in for Fortnite, they can make Unreal Engine 5 and it actually works well with MMORPGs?
That'd be great. Yeah, if they can make it. Just right now, Unreal has been always a disaster for MMORPGs.
Well, they didn't have as much money as they have now, so hopefully
now they're huge. So maybe they can do a better job.
My point is, I would rather them use the money they're giving for free games now, rather just pour that into the engine side and make a better engine.
Well, I'm enjoying my free games, Altai. All right, I'm getting
me too.
The freebies.
And this week is a good one. Overcooked. If you guys haven't played it yet, it's really fun. Local co-op.
I played the Dota 2 version, the custom map for the Dota 2 Overcooked version, which is pretty fun too. That's true. You do have a lot of waifu games on Steam. Oh, I wanted to say this earlier too when talking about Final Fantasy XIV. I do think, games like Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft today still have so much consumer surplus. Because listen, I pay $10 a month to play Final Fantasy XIV. I don't spend any money in the cash shop. For my $10, I played 16 hours a day for like 5 days, which is nuts. In fact, I looked at my /playtime recently. I'm at 130 days off that of playtime, 130 in-game days. Okay, so let's see how much it cost me to play Final Fantasy XIV for the last 3 years. So that's 3 years. I'm paying $10 a month, $12 a month, 12 months, 120, $360. I paid $360 plus the cost of the expansions, which for simplicity's case, I'm not going to include it. It's like $30, $40 for expansion. So $360 divided by 125 days times 24 hours. I have 3,000 hours played. So that's going to be 360 divided by 3,000. 360. How much per hour I've paid? I paid about 12 cents per hour to play Final Fantasy XIV. It's very hard to beat that with any other like even a full budget console game, going to the movies, or nowadays the best comparison is mobile games. You play a mobile game for like 10 hours, you might spend $100 on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of money mobile games are making, even console games are making per hour of enjoyment, is through and free to play games as well. I think games like League of Legends stuff, they make more money per hour than monthly MMORPGs. I think that's the biggest reason free to play took over. You make more money on a free to play game than a subscription based game. So it just seems like Final Fantasy XIV does leave a lot on the table with their subscription model, and nothing in the store is really required.
Yeah.
Same thing with WoW.
I wonder how long they can go on, because they're still making a lot. They're growing still Final Fantasy, so it's working.
Yeah.
But with WoW, it's not working. They're going down. So I'm curious if WoW will go free to play one of these days.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while. I would like Final Fantasy XIV to make more money. Like, it just seems like I'm getting such a good deal for what I'm paying. That's the best $10 a month I can spend. You know, like, I get so much value out of the $10 a month I spend. So it's not, obviously there are people that buy Fantasias and other microtransaction items as well. But there's nothing in the MOG station that you need to buy. It's just a few cosmetics and some basic things. And honestly, the UI is kind of ass for the MOG station. Like, Alta, you can't, like, there's no button in the game to open up the cash shop. You have to go to their shitty website, log in, and you look at like the pictures of the items. Rather than, like, imagine in game, you can see the MOG station, the cash shop in game, preview the items on your character, and buy it right then and there with a one-click purchase tied to your credit card on your account. Your sales will go up like tenfold.
In Japan, they don't have the technology yet.
The technology ain't there yet. It's just bizarre to me that they haven't figured that out.
Yeah, Korean games, they get that down first. You know, the first thing they figure out is the cash shop.
It's just, I actually might end up buying some cool cosmetics if I could see them previewed on my character in game with a very convenience of a click. I don't want to go on their shitty website, which Final Fantasy XIV is objectively a shitty backend and website. So it's just really bizarre that they just haven't figured that out yet. I want them to make more money. I feel like they deserve it. Final Fantasy XIV, like, listen, I love you guys. Like, take my money. It's like when Warren Buffett or those rich people say, like, tax us more, you know? People that want to pay more taxes. Like, listen, I'm a Final Fantasy XIV player. Take my money. Let me, you know, like, want to spend more money in your game somehow without compromising gameplay, obviously. Because I think the moment we start compromising gameplay, it could be a problem. But as is, they're leaving it on the table.
I wonder what I could do. But did you hear about there is a new live action TV show coming out for Final Fantasy XIV?
It's gonna be kind of weird, but we'll see. I mean, the story is very much like fits. I don't think the story really would fit, a live action setting, but who knows?
There's also a Doom TV show coming out, The Making of Doom.
Why? Oh, Making of Doom, documentary?
Yeah, I guess.
That sounds cool.
It's a mini series. I don't know what they call it. And there's also a Cuphead animation cartoon coming out on Netflix.
Wasn't Cuphead supposed to be like super racist? According to some of those SJW memes.
Well, I mean, everything's racist according to some stuff. So
all right, there you go. Everything is racist.
Let's see what else here. We got the Hearthstone censorship.
Ooh,
I know you like this
censorship, boys. Let's hear it.
So Hearthstone has decided to update some of their card designs, and in all cases, they either reduce violence on the card or cover up, some revealing ladies. So
I don't like it. I've seen these. I hate them.
Let's see some of these cards.
Take a look. How do I FAP to my Hearthstone cards? I can't FAP to the secret. What's her name? The Secret Keeper anymore. It's just not the same.
This is the most blatant one right here.
Let's see.
So I think they're trying to. What is Hearthstone rated anyway? Like a T? Like
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't think either of those would push it to mature anyway. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to go E or something.
Maybe is Hearthstone on Nintendo Switch yet?
Maybe they probably could be.
Maybe they're trying to make it on the Switch.
This is terrible. They got rid of the succubus. Like, that's not really that sexual at all. Like, you don't really see anything in that card.
Yeah, it's pretty sexual if your 10-year-old is playing on Nintendo Switch.
Barely. What are you seeing?
You would let your, let's say, 8-year-old play with this succubus?
Yes.
All right.
There's nothing going on there.
It's demonic, bro.
The other one is demonic too. The problem is, like, you can't, like, the boobs are not the only part that's like even remotely revealing is like her chest, and really it's not that much, and it's so small. Like, does your 10-year-old like have a magnifying glass onto their monitor, zooming in on like the the V area?
Maybe they giggle and show their friends, and then you get a call from one of their moms like, "Oh, your kid showed me some like demonic succubus lady."
Come on,
you live in the Bible Belt South in this scenario.
Alta, if you watch like Cartoon Network, you see some characters in like cartoon characters in their bikinis. That's just as revealing. Come on. There are cartoon characters in bikinis on like Nickelodeon.
I'm just saying, my guess is they're trying to lower the rating. And I'm not saying should they do it? Probably not if they want to keep the T rating. But maybe that's why. And here's another card here. So they got rid of some of the blood in Eviscerate.
Just a little bit. Like the blood splatter is gone. This one's a little hard to notice. Just the splatter is gone.
There's another one. So
Physical. We're looking at some of the censorship for the Hearthstone cards that came on the last patch. They censored a lot of the cards to be less nudity, less violence. The Secret Keeper was hot as heck. Let me tell you, that booty. I loved seeing that card in the game, But now, you know, I just can't. I can't get it up anymore. You know.
I'm actually surprised. It's still pretty revealing. This Secret Keeper.
Not really. We got a nice booty look. We got the nice back angle. Now we got a frontal facing, almost no. Like we can barely see your midriff over there. There's nothing now. Come on.
Nothing.
There's nothing. I can't get it up.
Well, maybe Hearthstone is not for you to get it up, huh?
Well, why not? All right.
So there it is, boys. We got some. Oh, this bite is a big one. Look at this bite. So this like panther is like spewing blood all over this poor guy. Now it's
supposed to be a bite. Like the first art was like actually biting something. Now it's just like a roaring like tiger thing. So it's definitely kind of. I'm not a fan, honestly. It's just they should just kept it as is. Who was it really like bothering? Like who was? I can't imagine anyone was actually complaining about this. Yes, Side Tokay is correct. Shadowverse still has all the loot lollies. So you know what? I'm calling it now. Shadowverse officially a better game than Hearthstone. Okay, we have way hotter waifus.
Rip.
We got lollies. We got good. Shadowverse doesn't give a fuck. All right. What's Shadowverse's rating? Probably teen as well. And they're showing so much more. Shadowverse has some amazing art. It's got their Grand Blue art, so of course it's nice. But they censored a little bit as well. Shadowverse, what's her name? The mage girl. Her boobs were like more revealed in the Japanese version than the English version. So there's some censorship there as well. But there's just they don't really care. There's just so much revealing art in Shadowverse.
So are we all universally against the censoring in Hearthstone?
I can't imagine anyone's like, yeah, bro, I love less violence and less nudity. Yeah, who's like that? Nobody.
Okay, what do you hear? Their official line why they're doing this is
bullshit.
Is it over the years Hearthstone has developed its own style, like a more cartoony, gimmicky style, rather than the WoW style that it was based on. So they're trying to make it more cartoony.
Yeah, bro, hide thou boobs.
All right, one more controversy. This is a fun one. So we're gonna bring the MMOs court in session.
All right. Court is in session, boys.
Court is in session, boys. So this restaurant in California was called the Angry Birdz Nashville Hot Chicken Restaurant, and they got sued by Rovio, which is the Finnish company that makes Angry Birdz. And now you, as a jury, must decide: are they guilty or innocent?
Guilty.
Omar says guilty.
100% guilty.
All right.
Clean them up to dry.
Why?
There's a Z. It's not their fault.
Guilty.
100% guilty.
Listen, guys, it's totally different. What are you talking about? They don't have any logo. It's just the words.
No, it's a complete. Not. They stole the font.
They stole the. Oh my! You guys are defending fonts.
Hold on, that font isn't even like. It's not even like a specific font, right? That's like a logo, where they probably the artist that wrote Angry Bird, they spelled out for the first time. They just made it into each letter individually. I don't think it's even a font, and they literally copied and pasted the exact way. If you overlay like that B, look at that B on Angry Birdz and the B on the chicken one. It's identical.
Listen.
If the font was different, we're fine.
If I write a letter, if I write "Hello guys, my name is Arnaltai," nobody else can write it exactly the way I did. I own that font.
Angry Bird. Well, fonts are copyrighted, by the way, but it's got the exact same name but with a Z instead of an S, with the same exact font. Come on, and they're selling chicken. All right, it's a bird restaurant.
They're selling chicken.
There's no way that was a coincidence. Okay, I'm telling you, they just copied on purpose.
Clearly, they copied it. But is that a fault? Is that a bad thing?
Yeah, it is there.
Why?
Yeah. Don't copy change the font. You're good.
Oh, change. Listen, I am not.
You can call it Angry Birdz. Angry Birdz is a good name, by the way, for chicken restaurants. It's actually a really good name for a chicken restaurant. I like it. But don't copy the font, okay? Show some shame.
Listen, I am siding with the restaurant. They did nothing. Angry Birdz did nothing wrong.
Listen,
I just want some hot Nashville chicken.
This is fraud, okay? If I'm in Nashville,
fraud,
craving some chicken, it's a fraud. I'm a customer.
Oh my God.
I'm playing Angry Birdz on my mobile device, okay? And I see this restaurant. I see the logo. Hey, this must be related to this. Rovio probably owns this place. Boom, misled. All right, a customer could be misled into thinking this is official.
It's not Angry Birdz. It's Angry Birdz. Okay, totally different.
Yeah. Is that? It's the same font with the same name.
Also, it's not like you can have if you let's say your Apple computer, right? It doesn't mean I can't be like Apple. I can't be like Apple tool repair. Like you can have.
It's fine.
You can have businesses with the same name as long as they're not in the same industry. That's allowed today.
Yeah, they're both in the bird business.
They're not both in the bird business. One is
they're in the bird business.
They're not in the bird business.
They both deal in birds.
No, one is a app and the other is a restaurant.
Yeah,
they're not in the same business.
A bird restaurant, a bird app. They're in the bird business. They're in the bird business.
No,
Come on.
I say let him go. But I guess I was outruled this time. It seems most people in chat are in the guilty camp. So
I'll tell you, by your logic, then, like, it's very hard to like do any level of copyright infringement. No.
well, no, if there was an app in your app store called Angry, actually, the funny thing is we were talking about those shitty mobile game apps, right? If they literally made a game called Angry Birdz with a Z in the game in the mobile app store, that probably would be fine because apparently Google has no moderation, and that would probably fly.
All right, I'm going to ask you this: if this Chinese game is a knockoff as well, because it seems like your standard for a knockoff is intense. I'm gonna find it though.
Yeah, link me. Oh,
it's
whether it's a knockoff and actually a criminal issue is two separate issues.
Yeah, I'm asking you if it's guilty or not guilty.
Okay.
Do you think that they should be forced to change the name of this restaurant?
No, they should not be forced.
Okay, should this Chinese game be forced to change their shit? You didn't even see it.
I'm gonna say no before I even see it because they shouldn't be forced to change it. Now, what shouldn't happen here is Blizzard should not then say, "Oh, you made a good clone. Let me actually work with you now for my game," because that's kind of like a bitch move.
All right, I found it.
Yeah, a game can be a knockoff and still be legal. Like I'm not saying it should be illegal to make a knockoff.
Well, the game actually got kicked out of the Play Store.
Oh, rip.
Okay, it was. Oh god, I can't. I wanted to show you. I showed. I think we talked about it before anyway, but let me look at you again. You can see like this game it was called Fire Hero Origins instead of Fire Emblem Heroes.
So did it get kicked off?
Yeah, they actually got removed from the Google Play Store.
Well,
if you see the art in the second screenshot on Twitter there, it's literally the same exact art style, the same exact gameplay. And Alta, you're gonna say, oh, they own the art style?
There's a million games like this, first of all.
No, there isn't. There is not a million games with the exact same art style. They have the exact characters, Alta.
And the characters could be an issue, okay? Yes. Also, by the way, don't forget,
exact same art.
Don't forget. Now we have two competing products in the exact same industry at mobile app games, right?
They're both bird businesses.
They're not.
They're birds. They're Angry Birdz and the chickens.
No. These are two literal same things competing in the same market.
Yeah, so different. This is Fire Hero Origin, not Fire Emblem Heroes. I'll take completely different.
There's actually a game called Brown Dust that kind of looks the same as.
No, completely different. I played it.
The graphics kind of look like.
Did I do a first look for this? I don't think I did a first look for it, but I did.
I guess it's slightly different.
It's quite a bit different.
They all look the same to me. These mobile games, I can't tell.
No, but the Fire Hero Origin, the Chinese knockoff game, is a literal copy paste of the art style and the gameplay. It's so like you could have similar art style and similar gameplay, right? Just like you can have similar font. They have identical font, all right, and the same exact name too, by the way. So guilty.
This one is more guilty because they're in the same industry.
Oh, they fine. Did they be forced to change it?
The name, sure. Or like the art.
You said no before.
The name is fine, but
okay.
The what's it called? The name is fine, but the art style, they can't copy the characters directly. And by the way, in Angry Birdz, they didn't copy the characters. If you'll note, there's no little red dude with the ball.
I don't know. Maybe we got to see the menu. I want to Google that restaurant. What's it called? Nashville Angry Birdz.
Angry Birdz Nashville Hot Chicken.
I'm googling. Yo, they have a 5-star review on Yelp with 550 reviews. Check this place out, boys.
Link me to Yelp.
Yeah, we'll check it. I'm getting hungry. Check this out.
Now, I wish there was an Angry Birdz near me.
Yo, Angry Birdz, boys, they're coasting. Let's see this menu. Oh, you see that chicken dabbing on that first screenshot of the menu? I'm pretty sure that chicken is from Rovio, right?
This is an original chicken right here.
Look at a dabbing chicken. Yo, I want some spicy chicken. Oh, I am hungry now.
This place has everything. It has chicken, dabbing chickens.
Dabbing chicken, boys. 5-star review on Yelp, though. That's pretty good.
All right. Well, before we forget, there is one cool actual news this week regarding MMORPGs. Bandai Namco announced.
It's a big one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. It was announced, I think, like a week ago, but
yeah,
there was no trailer. Now we got a trailer. All right, we got some gameplay.
It looks beautiful.
It does look beautiful. Let me find that trailer.
It's on the front page of MMOs.com. You just click on that link. Nice. The first slider. All right, newspaper says not guilty now after you saw the dabbing chicken. The dabbing chicken clears them of all guilt.
All right, all cleared.
All clear. Let him go.
So this is a new MMORPG coming up by Bandai Namco, which is surprising because it's a Japanese company. But let's watch this trailer, guys. It's a minute here.
Put the volume up. Let's hear it.
私たちは時空の歪みを解消する。そのために遥か未来からやってきたのです。
It does look like a Tales game. I didn't think about that.
この星を救うために。
Misao streams is Orc Kingdom would have been amazing if it wasn't crap. I feel like Misao, that applies to everything, doesn't it?
Wise words. So there we
like
go.
it.
That is Blue Protocol. Looks amazing. We don't know exactly what the details are yet, but
Listen, if it's gonna be instance, I'll be so sad though, because that like the open world part where they were like, we don't know if it's open world, but the part we saw in the trailer of them walking around the city looked really cool.
yes.
I would love this to be like open world. I'm just afraid it's gonna be like, okay, 4 players per instance, and that's it, you know?
Yep.
Or it might be like DFO where you get the instance dungeons, persistent hubs, you know?
Yes.
I would, if this open world, it would be amazing. Because
I think you nailed it previously. It's gonna be like, you know, Fantasy Star Online, where it's gonna be the town will be persistent, but outside town will be, you know, 4 or 5 people.
I mean, Gary the Japanese developed game, 100% there will be a lolly. There's no doubt in my mind you're about to make a lolly character. So there's no doubt in your mind that I'm going to make a lolly character when the game comes out, all right?
Nice. But yeah, it looks great. Sounds great. High production value. I'm glad to see a new MMO light, even if it's, you know, not persistent in development.
And it's not like, you know, coming out in forever either. It's going to be coming out decently soon, I think, because there's a closed beta going on in Japan for 3 days at the end of the month. So
Yep.
it's at a point where it'll be playable to 5,000 people for closed beta, which is nice. It's not like it's going to be coming out soon. But
This
we
is
have
the way to do
something-
it, boys.
Yeah.
Announce the game. It's closed beta, you know, at that month. Don't do this bullshit where you announce the game and wait 7 years like these Kickstarter games.
Yeah, so this will be probably, this could conceivably come out next year, hopefully, you know, in the West. I think it'll come out later this year in Japan. And if it does decent in Japan, it'll for sure come over here. I mean, Bandai Namco is trying to expand here as well. They got Bless Unleashed. Oof, terrible game. But, you know, they're doing Bless Unleashed in the West. So I'm sure Blue Protocol will come here too. I mean, it looks, I think somebody said in the chat, it looks like Tales. I made the same comment in my weekly news recap. I said it looks mostly like Tales, a little bit like Breath of the Wild, but more like, I'm getting a lot of Tales vibes from it. Sai Tokai, we're still like 2072. Maybe I got to up it to like 2092. You know, the way things are progressing, I got to upgrade. I got Upstar Citizen. Push it back a few more years.
Have you guys seen the trailer for Genshin Impact? It's a Chinese developed game.
Showed off. It looks cool.
It looks really good, and some people have. Oh, this actually kind of ties into our Angry Birdz discussion. Some people have said this is copying Breath of the Wild, but I don't see it. So here we go.
By knowing it's Chinese, I'm already kind of like poisoned on my opinion. It's copying something. Maybe not Breath of the Wild. It's copying something. All right?
Let's watch this with the eye of Breath of the Wild. Like,
go back to the logo. I want you to read the slogan for this company. Okay, it's the beginning of this
Tech
video.
Otaku Save the World.
What a slogan! Hey, yeah, my company's slogan is Tech Otaku Save the World. All right.
I like how they're pretending to be Japanese too. That's very clever. Here we go. This game, or just think, Breath of the Wild. Is it copying?
Not yet. A little bit here.
自由之都欢迎你们，随风而来的旅行者。
他在跟龙说话。
I think it looks pretty good. I don't, you know, it looks pretty nice.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I like the sleek anime art. The world looks a little bit like it, but I don't think it's the point where it's not quite like a Fire Emblem game. Yeah. The actual gameplay videos are not going to look nearly as pretty, by the way, with the UI and stuff. Wait, those monsters look a lot like Breath of the Wild, didn't they? The monster with the shield? Like this guy. I'm getting Breath of the Wild vibes from some of the guys.
I give him a pass. This looks good.
Yeah. This company though, Muhaya, whatever they're called, they made Honkai Impact, so that alone gives me a little bit of hope for them. This Honkai Impact was one of the better, I would say, mobile. Like, it's not an MMORPG. It's a mobile, waifu collecting action game without autoplay. So I bet this game will have autoplay though. I hope not though. There is gameplay videos of this one already because it's been closed beta. It looks really pretty. It is mobile though, by the way, guys. Heads up, it's mobile.
Yes, my favorite platform.
It didn't look mobile, until it didn't really look mobile because there was no UI. But yep, mobile gaming. Game gets an anime pass for Airhunt. That's a good sign. Wow.
Yeah. I'm not, allergic to it. Just a lot of it is just cheesy.
If you don't fap to hentai, you're allergic to it, Altai.
I do
Speaking
not.
of hentai, Altai,
Oh,
did you hear that? You linked me the Hentai Haven drama, which is a pretty fun read.
I read that. That was interesting.
Yeah, it was quite the story about how the rise and fall and drama of Hentai Haven. I think Kotaku actually wrote a good article on that one. HH is rip. It was fun drama for sure.
Speaking of cute things, one more cute thing I got for you guys. All right.
All right.
So, do you guys play Turok when you were younger?
Nobody here is that old. I'll tell you, me and like maybe two other guys in the chat gonna remember Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Well,
all right.
they decided to
On the
take
N64.
Turok on a whole new direction, boys. So this is just a new Turok game, Escape from Lost Valley, coming out end of this month, and it looks beautiful. It looks so cute. Here we go.
They took Turok Dinosaur Hunter. It was like this serious business, bloody, killing dinosaurs game, and turned it into this cutesy game.
This looks so cute.
It does look really cute, but come on, this is not Turok. I wanna, this doesn't look like Turok. Looks exactly like the original.
How cute is that?
It is adorable. I'll give you that. But this is not Turok though. This is not the Turok I knew.
There's some flashbacks. I feel like I'm a kid again. I'm playing Mario 64, doing
I don't remember like this though. A little different. Turok. The original Turok was a great game. All right. I remember like the sun gun. You shoot that shit, the whole like sky blows up in red. Some of the effects for the guns in Turok were pretty, solid.
A lot of cute games. A lot of cute games coming out of this.
Hashtag not my Turok. Can't wait for them to make Doom in this style. Yeah.
Chibi Doom.
I like it. Yeah, I got a fun Final Fantasy XIV casino story. Maybe for the post game though.
I think we're ready. Any big news? Anything else?
I think we covered most things. It was a fun conversation as usual.
All right, we shall move on to the post game. Thanks for watching, those on YouTube, and stick with us on Twitch.
Take care for YouTube.